You're listening to Between Us, a space made for women with big ambition and busy lives to match.
It's for brilliant, capable women holding everything together and secretly wondering if they're the only ones facing these challenges and asking themselves these questions.
We're Jen and Alexis, co-founders of Her Tribe, and each episode, we're bringing you the questions that keep coming up in our coaching or training rooms.
Or sometimes just in the WhatsApp group chat.
But we're not here to fix.
We're here to get curious.
Let's get to it then.
Right, Lex? What is this episode's question?
I have a question for you, which is the question of the episode.
Okay.
Does everybody else really have it together?
Absolutely not.
Are you sure? Because sometimes I look at other people and I think, why has everyone got it together and I have not got it together?
Yeah. The thing is, I think we all think that, don't we?
Everybody else has got it together.
It's such a strong thing that you think, God, like they know exactly what they're doing. And I always remember thinking when I was younger, oh, when I'm in my 30s, I'll know what I'm doing.
How's that working out?
Not great.
But I do think you know what you're doing.
No.
Isn't the thing, it's like, what was it you said to me last week about something? Oh, I know what it was. And I don't mind sharing this. This is me showing a bit of vulnerability. But I said to you that I was having a bit of a crisis, a confidence crisis last week about something. It was, anyway, I've had supervision around it and it's been fine. But there was some stuff that was happening that was making me doubt myself.
Yeah.
And when I said it to you, what did you, because you were quite surprised, weren't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I said to you, isn't it so funny how differently people think about themselves, you know, what their view is in comparison to what yours is.
Because you said, I remember you said to me, on the outside, it looks like you're absolutely smashing it at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and it does. Yeah.
That's not how I feel on the inside.
No.
Not always. Like mostly I'm okay. But
yeah.
I definitely have my moments. And then I just think, what is going on? Like, why is everybody else seem so sorted? And I'm still not.
I think that's the thing. You think, oh, when I'm a grown up.
Yeah, well,
when I'm a grown up, I'll know what to do.
Really grown up, unfortunately.
So I still will look for a grown up. And I keep seeing this video on Instagram that comes about that says, you worry too much for a person who always knows what to do, always has it figured out.
Okay.
And I think that's quite interesting. And maybe we're going off onto a different topic.
No, that is interesting. But thinking about that, what does it even mean to have everything figured out?
Well, exactly. That's true. I guess finding the resolution to an issue, right? So the kind of people that are in Her Tribe are people like us. So people that juggle a lot personally and professionally, have high levels of responsibility. We always have it figured out, don't we? At some point, we don't feel like we do in the moment, but whenever there is an issue, we find the answer. We make do. We find a way.
Sometimes you've got to dig really deep, though, haven't you?
Yeah, sometimes you do. But if you look back at your life, when have you not figured it out in some way?
No, that's true. I normally do figure it out.
You'll figure
Sometimes
it out.
It's just more painful getting there. And I suppose actually thinking about it, that's why we've done Her Tribe, right? Because sometimes you don't want to figure it out alone.
That's it. And sometimes you need to bounce off on, off of someone else. Like when we've had conversations in our Monday chats or our WhatsApp voice notes. And I remember something really, really lovely ahead of our first retreat. We did like a welcome call. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And we had a WhatsApp group going for that retreat cohort. And someone put in there, didn't they, a voice note or maybe even a video note to say, look, I'm having this issue. I don't know who else to chat about.
Yeah.
And I thought,
remember who it was. And if she's watching, she'll know who it was. And it was about mum guilt.
It was.
Do you remember?
Yeah, it was about making decisions around what to do for career versus home, and everyone from that cohort came in to support. And she knew the answer herself. She already knew it, but it was almost that thing of just needing to hear it out loud and almost needing permission, I think, to do what she wanted to do.
Yeah. It's really interesting when you think about that group of women that we pulled together. So there was 9 of us all together.
Yeah.
Anybody from the outside looking in, individually thinking about each woman that was on that retreat would think that they individually had it all
absolutely, without a doubt.
All sussed out.
Absolutely. And largely they do. All incredibly capable, wonderful women, but all had, that was a huge thread, wasn't it, of at times thinking, I don't know what I'm doing,
Well,
or I'm not
they
doing the right thing.
And I guess the point is, yes, maybe they do have it all figured out or they know what they're doing, but they can't say that about themselves.
Yeah.
The way we can confidently sit here and say,
Yeah.
they all know what they're doing,
Yeah.
but there's that moment of self-doubt, because this is really what we're talking about here, right? When that self-doubt creeps in, that makes you
Yeah.
think, why is it that they seem to have their shit together
Yeah.
and I don't?
Yeah.
Why is it that I can't seem to do ABC and other people can?
Yeah.
And I use the example of, like, when I first sold my franchise business and I decided to set up a coaching practice
Yeah.
by myself, and it was just me. I remember going to the first event, franchising event, and walking in by myself
Mm.
and feeling really, I don't even know what the right word is, kind of, self-doubt's not the right word, but overwhelmed maybe
Mm.
by all these other successful people in the space, and me thinking, oh my God, like, how do I mix in this crowd of people who all seem to just have it
All together.
all together, and
Yeah.
doubting myself because I didn't know how to own my own space.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. And I think it's more than just imposter syndrome, isn't it, this?
Oh yeah.
It's
Because I'm not a
different.
massive lover. You're not a lover of that word
No,
either, are you? Imposter syndrome.
no, I'm not. No, I think it's too much of a sweeping brush.
Yeah.
I don't love the term and concept imposter syndrome, but I think it's more than that,
It is
isn't
more
it?
than that.
And to me, it's when you look around that room, when you're in that kind of situation, it doesn't take long. You don't have to scratch too far beneath the surface to see that actually everybody's got their own shit going on. And in some areas, absolutely, yeah, they've got it figured out. But in lots of the others, they won't be. And like we said, that's exactly why we did Hair Tribe, because so many of us are spinning so many plates at once, and it's impossible for some of them not to fall or stop at some point, isn't it?
100%. And that's okay, isn't it?
It is. And we would say that to other people, but that's not the standard that we hold ourselves by, is it?
No.
That's why we always think, oh, why have they? That's why when we say, oh, why have they got it together and I haven't? That's why we say it in like a self-deprecating way, right? Because actually, yeah, of course it's okay to drop some of the balls, to stop some of the plate spinning. Logically, as we've talked about before, intellectually, we know that that's okay, that's normal, that's human, but it's not the standard that we hold ourselves by.
But hold on, let's just stop here for a second. What is it? And what I mean by
yeah,
they've got it all together. What
together.
What is even it?
It's a really good question. And anyone listening, there's not been a sound glitch. We're both just stood there looking at each other going, I don't know. What is it? Life, I guess. Aspects of life.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's like we're looking at other people saying they've got it all together. What even is that? What do you mean? What do we mean by that when we say that to ourselves? What do we even mean by that?
Well, I guess that's probably a whole nother episode itself, isn't it? It's probably a bit of a philosophical one of what is success. You know, what does that look like? Because for some people, you say, oh, you know, she's got it all together, but actually it might not be what you even want, you know,
Exactly.
that lifestyle.
So we're judging on the standards of what we think we might want, but actually that's not necessarily what we're chasing.
Yeah.
So I think that before we, why do we spend so much time looking at what other people have and what other people are doing? And maybe instead of imposter syndrome, it's more about self-comparison. I know we've talked about this a little bit.
I think
It's
it
that,
is.
why are you comparing yourself to other people? Why do we do that? Why do we look at other people and say, they've got what I want, without actually really knowing, number one, whether what they've got is what you want.
Yeah.
Whether they're happy with what they've got.
Yeah.
How that's working out for them.
Well,
what the sacrifices are they might have had to make.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Whether they're happy with it is almost irrelevant, isn't it? When you're thinking about it for yourself, that's not even relevant if they're happy with it. It's more kind of actually, is that what you want, or is that what you think you should want or should be doing? And yeah, what price are they paying? Like, this is a completely obscure story, but I remember going to this incredible safari experience in the UK. and it was in Kent. It was absolutely amazing, and part of it included this like African barbecue feast thing, and it's not a cheap thing. It was it was a real luxury for an occasion. And this guy there, he was absolutely ripped. Like for men, probably for a lot of men, dream body. But he didn't have any of the meal, because he had brought his own steak. Because the
Ah,
price that he paid was that he had probably actual physical price he paid. He must have paid an extortionate amount of money on meat. But also kind of socially, he didn't join in on that. And he missed out on all of that kind of stuff. Yes, he had that body. He was a personal trainer. It was part of his job. That was what he wanted. But there was a price that came
there
with
was a
that.
payoff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But was he okay with that payoff, I guess? And that's the thing, is like, you don't necessarily know the answer,
Yeah.
but this is where we look at other people and we don't actually really know what sits behind it or what the
Yeah.
rationale is. And I think, what would happen if we stopped looking at other people
Yeah.
and comparing ourselves to them and wishing to be more like other people? And I don't mean in a personality sense, I mean in terms of what people have and what people are doing.
Yeah.
If we didn't do that, what would happen?
You'd probably feel a lot more free, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit like, content creators on Instagram and TikTok. They get slated quite a lot, I think, for not having a real job or for getting all of these things for free. But I have a friend who's a content creator, and it's not easy. She has to document all parts of her day-to-day life, even when she doesn't feel like it. That is the price she pays. And so I think you're right. It's actually, you might want the reward, but what's the lead to that? How do you actually get that? But I think comparison is a massive thing. Like, I remember being at a franchising event and looking up at someone who was speaking, and she was talking about how she had grown her business to whatever it was and had gone international, and this is where her business was now, and these are the lessons learned along the way. And it wasn't like a look how great I am kind of talk. It was, these are kind of the lessons and this is my story. And I remember thinking, oh, I'm so far from that. Like, what am I doing? Like, why do I think why do I think this is going to work and I should be there where she is and blah, blah, blah. And then in that moment, I had a reality check with myself. And I thought, she started her first business 5 years older than you are now.
Right, she's got,
So
she was like 35 when she started her business.
Yeah, so she was 5 years older than
Wow,
me when she
right.
started her first business.
So you were already ahead of her, in theory.
Yeah, and
I don't mean it that, but you know what I mean.
And I don't mean that in like a competitive sense,
No,
or
no,
like,
I get what you're saying.
again, this is going back to our why can't I toot my own horn
I
thing.
know. It's
But,
all right.
yeah.
It's all right for you just to think what you were thinking. Yeah.
But yeah, and so yeah, like on paper, actually, yeah, I'm 5 years younger, and my business is already kind of 5 years old. And so actually, who's to say that when I'm the same age as her, I won't be there? So I had a bit of a reality check. And I think sometimes when you're talking about does everybody have it together, it is a bit of perspective. Like you said, all of these things I think are perspective. What is the price that they're paying for that? Do you actually want it?
Exactly. That's what I think, actually, more than anything.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy for you to sit and look at what you think people have or what people are doing, but is that even what you want in your life?
No,
Like,
yeah.
I can go in and I can look at other people, other coaches who might be really highly visible, right, massive projects they're working on, but I know that they maybe don't have the same work-life balance that I've worked really hard to get. So for me, I'm fiercely protective of my time and my boundaries, and I want to make sure that I carve out that time for me. So therefore, the sacrifice I make is I might not get those big project gigs where people are going abroad for a week to run a leadership workshop, whatever. And I'm not sure that's really what at this stage of my life, what I want. But that doesn't stop me from saying, oh my God, isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing? How do they even land that kind of work? That's amazing. Like, I've never been asked to do that kind of work. Well, I'm not putting myself out there for it.
Well, yeah,
So-
that's true. Yeah. Or I think if we're being real, not even just doing it in a positive way of, oh, isn't that amazing? Good for them. Sometimes it's, how
Yeah.
have they got that?
How comes they're doing that?
Like,
and I'm
yeah,
not?
why are they doing that and not me? And we can we can twist it in that way as well. And I think that is also really human. But so we've said before then that this has been a thread that's come up in coaching a lot.
Yeah.
What have you seen when it's come up in your coaching sessions? Can you give us some examples?
I think it's the the examples are people who, and it's not just women because I don't coach just women, but people who get so bothered about what other people are doing and how other people might view them or what they're not doing, that they take the focus away from the stuff that they actually need to do, or they're not clear enough on their own goals of where they want to get to.
Yeah.
So I think it's about just getting too fixated on other people. And I think the problem is social media really drives these kinds of behaviors, right? It's that self-comparison is so easy when you see what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And this kind of society we live in where everybody's so vocal about what they're doing and celebrating their success, which don't get me wrong.
Only like tiny portions of it, right?
And,
So
and
you
don't
can
get me
pick.
wrong, that's great, you know. But very, very rarely do people post and say, I've had a really shit day today. I didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve, right?
Yeah.
So mostly what people are saying is, oh my God, this is amazing. There's a few people are vulnerable, but not a lot of people. It takes quite a lot to be vulnerable. So I think what I see coming out in coaching is that inability to show the vulnerable side of themselves that then leads to self-doubt.
Yeah. So how do they combat that?
Well, that's why I bring it to coaching, to just unpack it and talk about it and say, you know, why does this matter? If I carry on behaving like this or thinking like this, where's that going to take me? What does it help me achieve? What purpose is it serving? And that's a really interesting question, because just what purpose is it serving? People say, well, none. And I'm always say, well, it does serve a purpose, otherwise you wouldn't be doing it. If you're doing something, you're doing it because it's serving a purpose. Now, that purpose or the result might not be a positive result, but nonetheless, it's giving you something. So what is it giving you? Or it's giving you a stick to beat yourself with. It could be. Or it's giving you something to, you know, kick you up the backside to motivate you to do more. Don't know what it is. So I think as a theme, what comes out really is that kind of self-comparison, that beating yourself up, that, you know, looking at other people and saying, well, I need to be more like them, or I need to be doing more of those things. And I think that the answer really is just recognize it in yourself. And I think I know that is a common theme that's coming out of all of our conversations.
Yeah.
But I think that for me, that self-awareness piece is the thread that goes through every single one of our conversations, because unless you're self-aware and you're able to identify what your thoughts are and what's going on for you to feel a certain way, then nothing's going to change.
And so what about people that are maybe not necessarily even aware that they're doing it, or how much they're doing it?
What do you mean?
Where can they start? So, you know, not everyone's going to be able to access coaching, right? They might not always have that space for whatever reason. But almost definitely this comparison or thinking that other people have it together and why don't I is going to show up at some point, right? Especially the kind of women that we're supporting in Her Tribe. So where can they start with that? How can they start to build self-awareness around comparison in areas that they maybe don't even realize they're doing it?
So the next time they see something, either on social media or see somebody else in their organization doing something, and they ask themselves the question, how comes they're having it all together, or how comes they're doing it and I'm not? That's the moment. It's almost like you want a red flag, a ping, ping.
Yeah.
I've just noticed I've asked myself that. So I suppose the first step is look out for the signs that you might be asking yourself those questions.
Okay.
And just notice it.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have to do anything more than that at the moment. Just notice it. Just notice. Okay, yeah, I actually asked myself that 3 times this week. And then it's, okay, the next step number 2 is, okay, am I okay with asking myself that?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think because I think that's something really important in this kind of coaching space and development space, that you don't always have to be making yourself better.
Or changing something.
This is something that we've not clashed on, but we've challenged each other about, before.
I don't know what she's going to say.
Well, is this thing that I think you don't always have to be improving yourself.
Yeah.
And I know that as a kind of through and through coach, when I first said that, you were like, yes, you do. What do you mean? Self-development is always something you're doing. And I think That is true. We always want to be developing, but I think there's a difference to developing and always trying to be better.
I'll see there's a difference.
Yeah.
Because being self-aware is a form of development, personal development.
Yeah.
So it's just, I know that about myself now. I didn't know that about myself before, but now I know that about myself. Whether you choose to do anything about that is a different thing. So what I'm not saying is you need to change everything. Once you become aware of something about yourself, you then need to change it, because actually you might become aware about something about yourself and think, I'm all right with that.
And you know what? I think we're going off onto a whole new topic here.
I know.
I think there's
It's
a whole
true,
new
but yeah.
one. There's a whole new one of what actually is self-development. What does it look like?
Yeah. But I suppose for the purpose of this, and you're right, we've gone off on a tangent, but for the purpose of this, it's about recognizing, being self-aware, and then deciding what you want to do with that. How much do you let it bother you? How much are you going to allow that to sit in your head versus I just want to let go of that?
Yeah.
So the question...
Yeah, I was just going to say, so we started the chat today with, does everybody else really have it together? I think we can firmly answer that with no.
No. Do you know anybody that has it all together?
No.
I don't either. And I know really successful people. I know some really successful people, but they do not have it all figured out.
No, absolutely.
I don't know anyone.
I don't
that
think
has it all
anybody
figured out.
does. I think we're all waiting.
And I would challenge people really hard if they said that they did.
And you know the thing that's just come to my mind from that. So the thing that I would like us to leave with today, the just one thing, is stop waiting until you have it figured out to do something. Because you're going to be waiting a bloody long time.
Yeah.
You're never going to reach that point because life is always going to life. And if you're always waiting until you've got it figured out, you will never do what you actually want to do, and you'll miss the life that you're actually living.
I think that's a brilliant place to stop.
See you next episode.
See you next time.
You've been listening to Between Us, brought to you by Jen and Alexis, founders of Her Tribe, a community for capable women who know the juggle is real and don't want to do it alone.
If something in this conversation's resonated, follow or subscribe so you don't miss the next one, or send it to a friend who might like to listen.
And if you've got a question you'd love us to explore, send it in to hello@hertribe.co.uk.
Until next time,
this was Between Us.